So welcome to Resiliency in Embodied Classroom. This is the last of a three-part series promoting students' resiliency in the pre-K to 12 schools with Dr. Simone Kotraba and the Chris Walsh Center. I'm Therese Roberts, and I am the coordinator of the Chris Walsh Center. And Natalie McCullum should be joining us shortly, and she'll also be emceeing this event. Before I begin, I will read the Chris Walsh Center's mission statement and make a few announcements and provide you with some information about this afternoon's training is run. Our mission: the Chris Walsh Center is here to serve our community by providing information for families and educators about a continuum of educational supports available to students with disabilities, students who are gifted, and students with unmet needs. The center offers supports, workshops, and programming for families, educators, and student support professionals, administrators, and advocates in Massachusetts. The center also conducts scholarly research and provides education preparation and professional development. This year marks our 5-year of the Chris Walsh Center anniversary. We've been providing resources and programs for family and educators. With your support, we can continue to expand our reach and impact even more lives. Up until this point, we've not charged for any of our professional development, our services, our webinars. We're hoping to be able to keep everything free. And that's why, if you're able to, we do encourage you to make a small donation. Even $5 or $10 can go a long way. So this year we're trying to, I'm putting the link in chat. We're trying to raise $25,000. In the past 2 years, we've gotten a $20,000 grant from the Sudbury Foundation, which is what's sponsoring this event. So we're trying to raise that amount of money this year. So we want to thank the Sudbury Foundation for bringing this event to us today. And much of the work that we do is through grants. So at the end of this event, we'll be asking you to fill out a survey. These surveys help us secure future funding. Now for a few small housekeeping items. If you would like to receive PDPs for tonight's training, please make sure your names on Zoom reflects what you want printed on your PDP certificate when filling out the registration form. To change your name in Zoom, click on the 3 small dots on the right-hand corner of your image box and click Rename. This will allow your name as you'd like it to prepare on the screen. In a few minutes, I will be taking attendance so we can send PDP certificates. So it's important we have the correct information. PDP certificates will be sent out by the Framingham State University Division of Continuing Graduate Studies and Continuing Education via snail mail. For this reason, it's important that we have a physical address for your PDP certificates can be mailed to. If when registering you submitted an email and not a physical address, I will be emailing you after the event to ask for your physical address. Please respond to your email so the certificate can be mailed out. This is our last evening for spring 2025 semester. However, our replays are available for almost all of our trainings, as well as our ADHD panel and our caregiver events available to watch on the Chris Walsh Center YouTube channel. If you want to keep up to date with our offerings, please make sure you subscribe to our newsletter or our YouTube channel. And I'm gonna pop those links into chat. Okay, now for some details on how this evening is going to run. Dr. Simone Kotraba has designed this event to be experiential. So your questions, comments, and interactions are welcome and encouraged. Likewise, if you are able to be on camera, that would be wonderful. Of course, if you aren't able to turn on your camera, that is fine. Sometimes Simone will invite you to speak out loud. At other times, she will invite you to respond in the chat. If for any reason you prefer to type your questions and comments, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I will read them for Simone to answer and engage with. Also, if you do not want to be on camera because this is being recorded, please put your comments in the chat. Now on to tonight's main event, resiliency in embodied classroom. Dr. Simone Kotraba is the founder of Heart Mind Solutions. She is also a transformational coach and wellness facilitator who guides individuals and teams on a journey of growth and expansion, helping them unite their hearts and minds. With her lighthearted wisdom and vibrant energy, Simone creates a welcoming, supporting environment for participants to tap into their highest potential. Simone has worked with families, taught and led pre-K to higher ed, and holds multiple licenses and certifications. She is passionate about the integration of SEL and well-being into schools. Now I will turn it over to Dr. Simone Kotraba.
Thank you, Therese. Welcome, everybody. So good to see you again. Hello. Hi, Joe. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Mark. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Bobby. Kelly, good to see you. Lauren, Victoria, Nancy. I would love to see your beautiful faces if you can turn on your camera. If not, that's okay. So welcome. This is our last course in the series. So tonight is going to be a lot about embodiment and movement and how important that is for our students, because when we talk about resiliency, it's not just, in our brain, the wisdom is also in our body. So it's nice to be able to give students tools to activate their whole body and bring that forth in the classroom. So we're going to get started. I will start with a journaling activity. So if you have a pen, that would be great. Paper, that's awesome. If not, you can grab your phone and grab your notepad. But for the classroom, encourage your students to use paper and pencils or pens. So when you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thanks, Bobby. Good to see you, Nancy. Awesome. So for this simple activity, this is a great way to build students' resiliency. They come into the classroom, and you can do this with young kids, right? Pre-K to 12. So for the younger kids, right, you may ask them to draw. And for the older kids, they could write or draw, right? So I'm going to invite you, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes. What you're going to do, you will not be sharing this information with any of us. This is for you. So you're just going to get your pen, and you're just going to start writing what's on your mind. So just start writing. You're not editing. We don't care about grammar. We just want you to start pen on paper and start just writing what's on your mind. And I'll set my timer for about 2 minutes. No editing. Just write what's on your mind. Okay. So let's see. So go ahead and get writing or drawing, right? Whatever works best for you. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to invite you to just put your pen down, your paper, and you can just move it to the side. Beautiful. I'm going to just, I'm curious before I share why that activity could be helpful and have been helpful for students and for adults. What did you notice by just not thinking, just writing what's on your mind? What did you notice? So feel free to unmute. I would love to hear your voices because that energizes me. And then we get into our groove. So I would love to hear one or two voices just to share. What was that like for you?
I wasn't worried about what I was writing. I just like about making mistakes. It was just anything that popped in, I could write it any way I wanted to, especially when you know nobody's going to be looking at it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate you for stepping up and, being first tonight. Thank you. Another voice. Go ahead, Nancy.
I had kind of a stressful afternoon, not the best afternoon today, and just you gave me the time to slow down and to kind of just get some of it out. And that felt really good. So I thank you for that because I think I needed that.
Beautiful, Nancy. Thank you. So think about how many times our students come into the classroom, right, with a lot going on, just like what you said, Nancy. Sometimes they have stressful mornings or stressful days, and they come in and then we put math on the board or we put a demand on them, right? So giving students a chance to take 2 minutes. It could be a minute, but sometimes 2 minutes, I find to be very helpful just to write what's on your mind. They can draw, they can, just put it down. They don't have to, let them know no one is looking at it so that they can freely get what is going on out of the mind onto paper and be available and ready for learning. So you're creating space for learning. And that's one tool that can help build our resiliency, is creating that space. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's one thing. So as we go through tonight, we're going to, look at a lot of different embodiment techniques that you can use in the classroom with your students, for yourself, with adults. So just start paying attention to the ones that are resonating with you and the ones that you might want to bring back to share with the people that you work with and with your students. Okay, I'm gonna share my slides. There we go. Okay. Can you see that? A big screen? Perfect. All right, so the next practice, and I love this practice. This is an awareness practice, and it's either called see, hear, feel, or exploring our senses, right? And I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and then I'll have you do it on your own, right here in this room together. But for students, when you do it with them, first I always model, and then I have them practice. So I'm going to do it the same way that it would be helpful for you to do with students, okay? So just find a space that is comfortable for you, any place that you are. If you are driving, you can do this activity because your eyes will be open, okay? But pay attention to the road. So you can stand, sit, lay. You can do this any place, anytime, any positions. And especially when I do awareness practices, I encourage students to find a space that works for them. So that way they feel comfortable engaging in some of these practices. So the first one we will do is see, hear, and then feel. When I say see, we're looking at external stimuli. So you can find a stimuli in the environment. You can stare at one item, or you can move your gaze to different items in your environment. When I say hear, you're listening to environment in the external world. So anything you hear, you can note that's here. And anything you feel on your body, so your clothing, right? The way your feet feel in your shoes, the way your hand is touching your leg. Those are all the external the external feel. We're going to do an internal after I do the external. So internal would be if your eyes are closed, you may see darkness, you may see light, you may see nothing, or you may see previous images that you have experienced in your day or anticipating events. Those are images that we see internally. So that would be see. If you're hearing previous conversations that you've had or the self-talk, we all have that self-talk, right? anything that you're hearing internally, that would be here. And for feel, it would be tuning into any sensations. So any emotional sensations, could be joyful sensations, it could be a pain, any internal sensation that you may be feeling, or if it's uncomfortable emotions that you're feeling, that will be labeled as a feel. Does that make sense to everyone? So I'm going to walk you through, and then you will get a chance to practice on your own while we're all here together. All right, so let's get started. So I will repeat these a few times. So just bring your awareness to your entire body and just be aware of where you are right now in time and space. And now we're going to do see. So find an item to gaze on. See. 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 Hear. 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 Feel. 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 Now we're going to go inside. So we're going to close, if it's safe and you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, and we're going to see in. So now we're going to explore the senses from the inside. So see. So see in. See. See. We're going to move to listening on the inside. So hear in. Anything internal. Hear. Feel. 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 Now on your own, explore any of the see, hear, feel. So it could be internal or external. So I'm going to set my timer for a minute and have you just explore on your own without my guidance and just notice what is. So go ahead and explore. And now just bring your attention back to the space. And because I love hearing your voices, And I would like others to hear your voices as well. I would love for you, at least two people, two voices to bring to the room. So we're hearing multiple voices tonight. Share anything that you experience. I won't give you a prompt, but anything that you would like to share about this experience. You can unmute and go ahead and share.
Hi, I am driving, so I got to experience the outside, but it was nice seeing how, although I am in the car, I cannot hear anything that's on the outside. So it's like my own personal bubble. And I got to the light as soon as we went to the closed eyes. So it was nice doing that internal checking of how I'm doing. I had an ACL surgery about a month ago, so it's nice to feel like how I really am, because as working and walking around, I don't get to experience, I don't have time to slow down and think, am I in pain? How am I feeling? So it was nice just doing a mental and body checking.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for that. Drive safely. Don't close your eyes when you're driving, though.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Welcome, Natalie. Good to see you. I would love to hear another voice.
When I was focused on how I was feeling, I was noticing what was uncomfortable and reposition myself to fix that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Bobby. Thank you. And this is a simple technique you can do with students. You can do the first time you do it with them, it could all be external. And then the second time you can do internal. And then the third time you could do both, right? Depending on the learners that you have. I've done it with, like third grade and up. And with the little ones, I just do the external first, and then I build up to the internal. High school kids, I just go all the way in. And they report similar to what you guys have reported. So this is another practice that you can do, right? So it's really touring the senses. And oftentimes we don't get to slow down, like Victoria shared, to check in with what's going on with us. So that's another way to build resilience, because again, the more we can create space and awareness, right, we're able to better know what we're feeling and be able to respond appropriately, because we know what's happening with us. Great way to get into the body. I love this one. Thank you, Leslie. That's my favorite too. And it's good for you to practice too. You can practice at night, and it helps me to fall asleep. So if you have trouble sleeping, definitely try this one on. All right, let's see what's next for us. Great. So this one, Natalie's here. Perfect timing for breakout rooms, Natalie. We were nervous that we wouldn't be able to do it without you.
I was nervous about it too. I was like, oh my goodness, what about the breakout room? So I'm glad to be here. Hello, everybody.
Yes. So the question I have, and groups of threes are perfect. And before we go into breakout room, I'm going to invite you just to reflect first, because that's very important to get a chance to reflect. So grab your pens again and your note or your notepad in your phone, and just reflect, what impact do you want to make in the lives of students, right? So we're all in some form of education. So what are the impact that you want to make? So just about, 40 seconds, just write down your impact.
While you guys are doing that, I'll ask how many minutes for this breakout room once we send them, Simone?
Yeah, so threes, so about 4 minutes. So each person have a minute to share and then a minute to reflect. So about 4
Okay.
minutes. Thank you for reminding me. So it's okay if you haven't completed writing, but this is a good way, again, always giving students an opportunity to reflect. Either they could draw or write before they're able to share with a partner or partners. That way we can get what we have out, put it down on paper, and then when we get to the breakout room, we're able to then listen to our partner from a deep place of listening, right? Versus waiting to share what we have. So now that you have it on paper, it's easier to provide space for listening. And this is another technique that you can do with your students as well. And also with staff, with adults, right? So now I'm going to invite Natalie to send you off to the breakout room, and I'll see you soon. Have fun. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you made a connection and you shared how we're all going to support our students. So I would love to hear either verbally or in the chat, what impact do you personally want to make in the lives of students? So either chat or unmute and share.
I need to throw my entire group under the bus with me because I thought it was fascinating in my group that we had a lower elementary teacher, myself, that is middle school-ish, and then a high school teacher as well. And we really were echoing each other in our statements where we wanted to see our children persevere and grow resiliently in life in order to be able to combat everything that's thrown their way. And we really wanted to be able to work with their parents and kind of create a positive impact for them. And we all voiced it in different ways, but it was really the same message. So that was kind of cool.
Wow, Laura, yes, thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Yay, group. Beautiful. Who's up next? That gave me chills. Did anybody else get chills?
Well, me and Kelly, I talked about how important it is to just show up for the kids, and be there and let them know, show them that they matter and that they do have something to offer and they can be powerful. And I think that's huge, especially I work with high school kids, and some kids are on the spectrum, some kids, emotional disabilities. But I think by showing up and listening, and even when in their worst days, being there kind of shows them that they do matter. And I think that's the most important thing that you can give, to the kids.
I appreciate you sharing that, Mark. That's beautiful. Absolutely. I'm getting chills all over, you guys. It's amazing, right? Because we all come with the heart, right? We got into teaching education. We know not for the salary, but for the love of the children. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else that wanted to share? Nancy's cracking up.
Well, I'm Dawn, and my situation's a little different. I was just telling my breakout group that I'm the school nurse in a high school, 9 to 12. I do have a small group of preschoolers as part of a CTE program, but I'm also an instructor at a local university for nursing, second semester juniors, first semester seniors. And I'm trying to teach them some deep breathing and, some resilience, like already mentioned, because many of my students have never actually had a real job, any job, or a full-time job, and they're getting ready in the nursing field to hit the ground running. So I try to teach them and my high school students to take some deep breaths, some, meditation moment before they respond or react, so that they can kind of collect their thoughts. And I also try to remember every one of their names, especially my college level, so that they all feel acknowledged and important and that, who they are. So I have a little bit of different background, but I guess we're all here for the same reason, the students.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that, Dawn, because in, nursing, right, that is like education is very tricky career. And
Yes.
in order to support the people that you're working with, you have to be in a place of resiliency and We can't be in the brainstem, right? We can't be in reactivity. We have to be in the neocortex where we can make really good decisions. So I appreciate you bringing this and sharing these information with your students. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the next thing we're going to move into, I'll share my slide again. And so this is Don't Panic. You see 20-minute dance, no panicking, right? The name of it. So we're moving into social presence in theater that I promised to share with you based on the advertisement of our class tonight. And this is through MIT. And the 20-minute dance has nothing to do with dancing. They call it a 20-minute dance. But we're going to practice. And I think if you were in my previous class before, like last semester, we did this dance and it was for a short time. So this one will be for about 10 minutes. And I want you to practice, seriously practice this dance when we get into it, because it's going to be helpful for your students. And when we talk about moving into our body, this is how we move into our body. So if someone, I would love to invite someone just to read, so I'm not the only one using my voice. I want to give equal opportunity to participants here. If you don't mind reading the slides for us. So yeah, if somebody would just unmute and read, that would be helpful.
I can read. The invitation is to become more present and grounded in our bodies, to support fully being present in the moment by resting our attention, mind, on the feeling of the body. When body and mind are synchronized, we have access to a holistic intelligence.
Thank you, Victoria. Beautiful. Yes. And in schools, our kiddos are sitting a lot. And the research in neuroscience is showing that, right? The brain responds to movement. At the end of a learning loop, it suggests that sometimes taking a walk or movement really helps create the neural connection in the brain for that thing that you've just taught your students, right? So oftentimes they're sitting a lot, they're not moving. And when we sit, right, it's a hard learning. Our body's just sometimes not as responsive, right? So if we're standing, we're moving, that allows for more learning, right? So the invitation here is to move into our bodies. So for the 20-minute dance, we'll do it for 10 minutes. And as you can see from the image, it's really tuning into your own body. I will not be directing you. You're going to tune into your own body. If you're in a space where you could lay on the floor to start, that would be helpful. So you can invite your students to lay down. And I have high school students do this, and they actually lay down and they do the whole thing. And it's very helpful for them based on their feedback. So if you're in a space where you could lay down and start on the ground, that would be awesome. If not, you could start sitting in a chair or whatever surface, and then move into standing. Okay, so first 5 minutes, you can start sitting or laying down, and you're just going from one position to another, but you're not just moving randomly. You're tuning into your body and listening to the body and moving in that direction of the body, right? So it's not about exercising, it's about tuning into your own body and moving according to what your body is telling you. So you start start, sitting or laying. Then at 5 minutes, I will let you know it's 5 minutes, and then you can stand and then move in a standing position for the standing portion, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Have I created any questions? Stop sharing so I can see you. Have I created any questions? Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay, yes. So no yoga, no Pilates. You're just tuning into the body's wisdom and listening and moving according to the body. Okay. So I'm going to set Natalie, do you mind just setting a timer for 5 minutes? And at the and then at that mark, we'll tell you it's 5 minutes, and then you can move to your next portion of the dance. So we'll give you a total of 10 minutes on your own, and I'm going to invite you to take the time for yourself and do this dance, okay? So we'll see you back here in 10 minutes, but stay by your camera so we could instruct you on what's next. Thank you. We're at the 5-minute mark. We have 5 more minutes. So continue to tune into the body and respond based on what the body's telling you. So you could move to a standing position and start moving. We have about 1 minute left, so start moving into, towards your camera as you're still moving into the dance. About 15 seconds, so let's start wrapping up. And then move towards your camera. And then turn your cameras back on when you're ready. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat. What did you either feel or sense, right? From just a felt sense, what did you either just, your body felt something. So not from the mind, what you know, but what you felt. So from the body, what did you sense? What did you feel? What did you notice? So I felt, I noticed, I sense, and you can just put it in the chat. And if you don't like to do it in the chat, you can unmute and share. But I would love to hear all voices, either in the chat or share what you felt, what you sense, what you noticed.
So Michelle shared a sense of calming. Kelly said tired. Bobby said, I noticed my tiredness. Leslie, I felt it coming home to my body. I had been busy working all day, so I was in my head. Oh, and Mark said, I felt and noticed how my body was feeling like calm or all the aches and pains.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And so I gave you 10 minutes to practice because when we want to introduce things to students, I think it's important that we first experience and embody that before we invite students to participate, right? Or others to participate. So knowing how it felt for you is important and giving you the time so you can kind of feel into it, explore it. I know sometimes in schools, it's not realistic to have 10 minutes to do a practice. I totally get it. But if you have 10 minutes, give students 10 minutes. If you have 20, give them the full 20 minutes. But if not, you can start with 5 minutes of this practice, right? And explain to them, it's not a dance. You're not really dancing. You're tuning into your body, you're noticing your body, and you're moving according to your body. And it's a way to, like, Leslie, I think, said, a coming home to the body, right? So we get students to move out of the thinking mind and into the body. And that is where, when we can use this whole being, that's where all the wisdom emerges from, right? And you get more, taking that 5 minutes with students, or 10 or 20, will give you more on the return on your investment, right? Getting them to settle into the body, notice what is, they'll be more focused. The brain will be in a space of alignment where they can think clearly, they can focus, they can attend, and they can produce what it is that you're asking them to produce. So you will get a really high return on your investment. And Nancy said, by focusing on my body, I could stop focusing on my brain. Yeah, so much. I could stretch out some of the stiffness. That's right. Exactly. Thank you. So that's the invitation for your students. The next thing we're going to move right into, and I told you we're going to do a lot, and we're going to move into, is called the duet. And when you hear the word duet, you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, who am I going to dance with tonight? The names are, yes, right? So we're going to dance. So this is, the invitation here is to be free. We're going to partner you into the breakout room. And with a partner, what you're going to do is imitate your partner. So for example, Natalie, I'm gonna ask you to be my partner for a moment. I'll stop sharing. So you can see. So with your partner in the breakout room, we're going to just start out, and standing is good. We're dancing, right? It's a duet. So Usually you can just start out doing any pose and your partner will mirror or copy your pose. And then my partner will move, I will mirror or copy my partner. Right? And we'll do that. So you'll be with your partner and the movements can be silly movements, could be running, jumping, anything, right? So move the body, get into the body. So any movement, fast, slow, whatever. It could be very, very slow, very fast, anything, right? So you're going to have to, there you go, Natalie. Thank you. So you will have 2 minutes, a total of 2 minutes to mirror, copy your partner and move, right? So you're going to be moving and then just noticing, what's happening. And then you'll have a minute to reflect on what happened with your duet. So you'll reflect back with your partner. I notice, I saw. So use the word I noticed or I saw or I felt. So I noticed, I saw, I felt. So you'll have a total of 3 minutes. So 2 minutes to do your duet and then 1 minute to reflect, okay? So before you get into your duet with your partner, just take a moment. Once you both get there, take a moment and just take 2 nice deep inhale and exhale. You're holding that space and then you can get into the duet. So you don't need to talk to your partner. You're just gonna get up and start moving. So no words for the first 2 minutes, right? And when you see the next minute, then you can sit and share. Does that make sense? All right, Natalie, off to the breakout room. Welcome back. I see smiles. That means something went well. Someone was playing. Welcome back. I cannot wait to hear. I'm waiting. So tell me, voices out. Let's share. What was that like for you?
Funny enough, both Laura and I are driving, but we did share our experience how we have done just intuitive dancing or dancing practice in our classroom or for our personal life in the past. And I was sharing how I love how intuitive dance specifically resets the nervous system and just how it is like nice to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Victoria. Anybody else? I know Kelly got kicked out of her room. Nancy, you were smiling. You had a big smile, so I'm going to call on you.
Okay, well, Mark and I both got like, okay, well, what are we going to do next? And we pretty much ended up dancing the Macarena, and it was fun. We were kind of, definitely going back and forth. So,
yay! Joe, come on. Joe's in the house. Come on, Joe.
Hey, hello, everyone. So we did ours more sedentary. We started slow. We started really slow. We were both in that space and we
Doing the
stayed in that slow.
salsa?
No, we did not do salsa. I'd be exaggerating and lying. I would love to do salsa, but we did not. We did ours in a more sedentary way, but it was
Yeah.
good. It was rhythmic.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Michelle.
It was just nice that we were able to just, it was like a nice connection, like freeing. Like it was like for when you need a break from that academic part of the day, or you have a friend who may need a little bit just of a break, right? It was just nice to do that.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else would like to share? I know Dawn couldn't because she was in a work setting. Leslie. Oh, the chat.
Yeah, so Leslie said, I have not done this mirror exercise in an improv class. Very fun. Definitely. Oh, I have done. Sorry, I think I added not in there for some reason. Very fun. Definitely put participants in the present moment because we have to watch and follow.
Exactly. Absolutely. And it's fun, right? And this is another good practice in the classroom. Instead of putting on Go Noodle, I'm sorry, nothing against Go Noodle, but sometimes that really ramps up the kids, right? And then I can't get them back down. But when we do this type of practice, they, like Leslie just said, we're tuning into each other. We're noticing, we're paying attention, right? We're mirroring, we're following, right? And that helps to really settle down the nervous system. And like Victoria mentioned earlier, because the whole point of self-regulation and building resilience is managing our nervous system, is making sure that our nervous system is being cared for, is being nurtured, because that is the central hub of the entire person, right? So it allows us to be in that space where we could build resiliency and also builds connection with others. So that sense of belonging, right? That also builds that sense of belonging with students. So definitely you can do random partners, so kids could get to learn to participate with each other and build that classroom community. So it's a fun thing to do. The next dance we are going to do, it's called the seed dance. And for this seed dance, and you don't have to do all of these at once with your students, just pick one and practice and just keep adding to it as you move along. The next one we're going to do as a whole group. And this one is called the seed dance. And with the seed dance, the invitation here is one person, I'll start, one person stands up and make tune into their own body. So I'll tune into my body, and then I will make a sculpture of what my body is saying or doing. And then I'll say a word, whatever word that comes out. So it's not planning, it's not miming, it's not, improv, it's just whatever emerges, right? So there's no talking. We each just stand up, make a move, and say a word. And I'm going to ask Natalie to just write down the words that each person says. And then at the end, she'll read them out so we can see what came out of that. Does that make sense for you guys? So I'm going to ask you to just don't be shy, because this is sometimes a lot can emerge from a social, this is the social presencing, right? So as a group, as a collective, this is something you could do with the group in your morning meetings with a group of students. So I will start, and hold your posture, your sculpture for just a moment so people can see it, okay? We're going to be generous today with our sculpture, okay? Safe. Then I'll sit down, and then the next person will stand up and do their sculpture, say the word that emerges, and then sit down, and then we'll keep going until we get to all that can participate.
I'll go.
So you have to unmute Nancy so we could hear you when you say your word. Okay.
Okay. Balance.
Playful.
I'll go next. Can you guys see me? Strength.
I'll go next. Playful.
Don't overthink it. Just stand up and.
I'll go next. I don't know if you can see me.
We can see you.
Look ahead.
Don't have much camera space. So I'll do a little hopeful.
I know a few people are driving, so I get it. Anybody else that's off camera that can share, or you're busy driving? So I think they're driving or unable to share. Yeah, so that's called the seed dance, and you just invite, you can sit in a circle with your students and then invite each participant to stand up, and don't overthink it, don't plan, just move into it and say the word. And then you have someone, write the words down and then read it back so we see what emerges. And then we kind of sit with that for a few minutes. So that's another way to build resiliency, get into the body, and then, the collective wisdom will emerge. So Natalie, what do you have for us? What are some of the things?
So safe, balance, playful, strength, look ahead, and hopeful.
And then we sit sometimes for a few seconds with the words and see what resonates with us, right? And sometimes that leads into aha, or something that is trying to emerge, right? Something that needs to be unlocked, right? Something, and sometimes that leads into something. Sometimes that moves us ahead, and sometimes that doesn't. But it allows space, right? And sitting with your students, and as the words are read out loud, ask them, go around in a circle, ask them what resonated with you, any word that stood out to you, what was speaking to you, and then have them share. Does that make sense? Right? So just one example, just for everybody, just if one person could just share based on the words that came out of that, what resonated with you? Just
While folks are thinking, I do want to acknowledge something Nancy said in the chat, which is I would love to have kids make a poem with the words and do it on multiple days.
That's a great idea. I'm taking that idea with me, Nancy.
Yeah, and Leslie asked me to repeat the words again, so I'll go ahead and do that. Safe, balance, playful, strength, look ahead, and hopeful.
Thanks, Natalie. Anything else that resonate with anyone?
I felt like most of the words were really like about being intuitive, about inner feelings, whether how you want to feel or how you do feel.
Thank you for that insight, Mark. And that's what helps us to build resiliency, right? Being aware, right? Bringing the words to life so we can then address what's going on. And that's what this course is about. And that's what social presence is about, is bringing to life what is within. It's not so much what is without, but what is inside and what is trying to emerge for us. So thank you for sharing that.
Simone, one of the things that I noticed about it is like some of them might seem like they would be opposites, right? Like we might think that like playful and safe are opposite, right? But that actually, and I'm going to pull one of the other words, that those things when done with balance, right, can be like that all of these things, even though they're kind of different, they do make a well-rounded like experience. If you're hopeful and you arrive with strength, then you're being playful and all of those things, that even though they're different concepts, they also like integrate really well together.
Beautiful. I appreciate that insight. Absolutely. Right. So as you step into this new embodiment with your students, right, new things will emerge. You'll be able to create things that I have not thought about, right? And the students will bring those to life. And the more they're able to participate and to be in their body and to be a full, whole person, and learning, things will emerge that will allow them to be our teachers, to help us build that resiliency, right? Because the question I had for you earlier was like, what impact do we want to make? But what space can we create to allow them to make the impact, right? So there's a lot we can play with here. So just things to think about. So as we move towards 5:15, anything else before I move on? Anything else that's percolating?
So Simone, at the beginning of every class I have, obviously at the college level, even sometimes I'll throw it out at my high school students when they're having a rough day. I always tell them something that them to tell me something that they're grateful for. And then when they're having like a rough day, I'm like, okay, see, like, and I thought of that with some of these words that were out there. Like, I'm grateful that I have a safe space, and that I am able to, feel safe and protected and a roof over my head, where a lot of people don't. So I don't know if that's similar to what we're talking about.
That's
but I
another
do.
great practice. Absolutely a great practice.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because
Go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
I was wondering if that was just like part of it, or if I should like kind of tweak my thoughts a little bit.
No, that's a great practice because the research shows, and I probably said it here before, but I'll say it again. When we are in a place of gratitude and appreciation, right, emotionally, it really is 700 times more powerful than any other emotions. It was measured by the Heart Math Institute. I'm not sure how they measured it, but the power of gratitude and appreciation put your brain and body in a place of what they call receivership. So you're in a place of just openness and feeling and creativity. It allows the brain to be synchronized and for you to access like higher wisdom and your intuition that Mark mentioned, your higher intelligence and intuition. So yes, that is an excellent practice that I recommend anyone to try for themselves and with students. So I'm glad that you're doing that, Dawn. Sounds like you have a lot of great things going on for your students.
Thank you.
Yes, keep up the good work. Yay. So thank you. So we're going to move into a reflection because it's important that we learn together, we do these things together, but what's next for you? How will this manifest in your classroom? How will this help you make the impact that you want to make with your students? So I'm going to share my slide with the questions that I have that we'll just kind of reflect on our own and then share. So let's see. Where's my, hold on, sorry. Share. Okay, here we go. Slides. Okay, can you all see the slides? So reflection, I was going to have you interview each other, but I think we don't have time for the interview part, so we'll reflect and share. So based on what we have covered in this series, like this classes, or even just today, how can you promote students' resilience? What technique or techniques have you found helpful for yourself and or students? And what are you most excited about implementing and when? Because the when is very important, the commitment. So if we're able to make a commitment here with each other, then it's more likely that we're going to implement it in our classroom or with ourselves or with others, right? So just take a few minutes. I'll give you 60 seconds, so a minute to kind of write down. And I'll keep the slide up just to reflect on these 3 questions. So either pen or paper or on your phone notepad would be great. So 60 seconds and wherever you are, that's totally okay. And if you're driving, just start thinking about that because you're not able to write it down. Set the timer.
And if you type it, you'll already have some of the survey questions answered.
Good point, Natalie. Right, so you can put your writing utensils down and just bring your attention to your breath. Take a nice big inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, hold it. Exhale. 2 more, inhale, hold, exhale, inhale, hold, exhale. And now bring your attention back to your reflection. And I would love for you to either put it in the chat or share out loud. One of, I'm very curious, right? Your, what will you take back? What are you excited about taking back to your students or to your staff in any setting that you're in? What techniques did you find helpful or useful for yourself or students?
So we've already got some answers in the chat. So Bobby said, I think teaching students the exercise of noticing what they are seeing, hearing, feeling can help them slow down and reset when they're feeling anxious. And Victoria said, the different techniques to help us stay present and reset when needed. And I love how it all can be play-based so we can teach our kiddos. I'm excited to implement more of the duet for the children to develop connections with peers. Sorry, it just jumped. Develop connections with peers they're not that close to. Kelly added, I start my groups with a mindfulness exercise so it will help them focus on the lesson. Mark said the techniques that help them notice how their body and minds are feeling. I will try this before the year ends. And then Dawn said the mirror image exercise. Michelle, the large picture idea of the importance of creating a space for learning is something I plan to bring back to my colleagues. Nancy said, I plan to implement the mirroring activity tomorrow with my 4th graders. I think that tuning in to others will be super beneficial for them and for me. I will do the sea dance with my 5th graders. I will have them count silently to 20 before they say their word. Oh, that's a great addition. Leslie, periodically pausing to take some time to get into the body and using all of these exercises. And Leslie also added, I'll be attending a 4-day conference and we'll do some of these for myself. Yeah, good plan. Yes, beautiful. Thank you all so much for sharing. And I really hope that what you've learned here, you can bring back and really use that to make the impact that you want to make in the world. It's been a pleasure being with you. This is brings me joy being with you. So thank you so much for being so engaging and so amazing. So yay. So thank you. I appreciate you. I'll turn it over to you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so I'm sure Therese mentioned once again, I know many of you have heard me say it before, how important our surveys are. I know many of you have probably already filled them out for us in the past. If you can do it again, it continues to help us. And then other than that, thank you so much, Simone. I know I always feel so much better by the end of these workshops than I did before coming in. And Simone already thanked all of you, but of course, thank you for your engagement. Yeah, I just want to make sure to give the reminder that the PDP certificates will come in the mail. We do, the Center of Graduate Studies sends them out, so you can contact me with questions, but then I end up forwarding those on. So just a heads up, it's not me sending them, but I do get the attendance to them. And then as far as events for this year, this was our last one for the semester. But that said, we always promote our events in the newsletter. So if there's anything coming up in the fall semester, it's great to be on the Chris Walsh Center newsletter if you aren't already. I think that Therese hopefully shared the link to that earlier. But other than that, of course, your participation in these events is always appreciated. And that's how we make a difference in the world. And, we recognize your dedication to yourself, your students, your families. And we thank you so much for being here and hope you have a great night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great night.